Sure. So my name is J.R. Lorenzen. I'm an Army chaplain. I've been a chaplain since 2007. And then when I made major, I was given the opportunity to specialize, to go into a field where I could really start to hone and gain skills. And I chose the counseling profession. In the Army, they call it a family life chaplain. And so I've been attending Columbus State University for 15 months, getting an additional master's degree in counseling. And so this is where I came about having an opportunity to meet with Dr. Rick Long and working on my counseling skills and receiving the refinement and the input that supervision can provide. Well, as a chaplain, about 70% of the time that we spend is counseling, meeting with soldiers and their families, meeting with soldiers who have lost loved ones or who are having major changes in their career, who have been injured, families that have been separated for long periods of time, and therefore they're trying to fit the pieces back together of what does this marriage look like. And then that's on top of just trying to make marriage work in the first place, because it's hard in this crazy, messed up, sin-scarred world we live in. And so that's where I come along, to be that ear that can listen and provide some insight. And so I figured if I was going to counsel soldiers and families, that I wanted to do it well. And so I needed some additional education. That's really what I do as a family life chaplain. I do marriage counseling, I do family therapy, I do individual therapy, grief therapy. We can do some substance type abuse therapy, helping soldiers that may have become dependent on pain medications or themselves have experimented. And some of it is also, you might say, career counseling, where we're helping folks transition from a life of service in the military for up to 20 plus years. And now what does it look like as I look for other opportunities in the civilian sector? So that's my practice in a nutshell. Anyone who is a counselor cannot counsel in a vacuum. We're not able to counsel as if we were isolated unto ourselves. Sometimes we face, and I face, situations where I didn't feel like I had all the answers. The path became muddied as some of the details of a person's life comes up. And maybe even some of the things that they were dealing with were a little too close to some of the things that I had experienced. And so supervision is essential to give that objective perspective. Someone who's more seasoned, somebody who's been doing this longer, somebody who can really focus on not the client that I'm dealing with, but I'm the client in supervision, and who can help me to think about how am I responding, or to point me in a direction where I might be able to therapeutically take my client to bring about better results for them. Basically, supervision is essential. Every counselor needs it, because we're all going to face things where we don't know what's coming next, or we're not sure why we're responding in a certain way. It's an issue that's ethical. A counselor who's not receiving supervision is beginning to walk into areas that are gray ethically, because they don't have the objectivity and the perspective to be able to continue to grow and to provide the best counseling possible. So working with Dr. Rick Long, it was fun in a way. He's a high energy counselor. He's very seasoned as a marriage and family therapist. He's been a professor for a number of years and has helped grow and mentor many counselors over the years, and has been able to see where folks maybe might get caught up or where their fears or anxieties might lie. And so he's, in that sense, a honed scalpel that's able to go in and to provide that very timely input, I think. What I also found effective is that Dr. Long, what was effective about him as a supervisor is it was well metered. The ability to provide, here's what you're doing really well. to encourage the counselor, to bolster maybe that failing confidence, but then also to provide some insight and some recommendations on where they might be able to therapeutically take the client, to develop a course of action, or maybe before they were doing a really good job of being present for their client, but not necessarily having a road or a path where they were able to take them. Sure. So as a counselor, I think one of the most intimidating things is to sit down and watch your own work in front of another therapist. And this is where the personal demeanor of working with someone like Dr. Rick Long was encouraging, because they're able to lower your defenses and to be very personable, and then also to give you that guidance that you need, some insight, and to give you greater confidence as you're working with your clients, because you feel like, I have a better idea of where I want to go next. I have an idea of how I could have asked that question better. I'm more aware of myself as I'm sitting with my client on what activates me, so that if I can monitor myself better, I can also be more present and available for my client. Every therapist that comes into a room, they have a gifting. They have a passion for people. They have a heart for people that are hurting and wounded, but they don't always know where to go next. I think somebody who's been in the trenches for as many years as Dr. Rick Long is able to provide that glimpse ahead of where you might go. And so his knowledge on the various modalities or theories, whether you're looking at Salvador Minuchin and you're doing family therapy, and where Dr. Long was able to say that in family therapy, you need to be very directive as a counselor. You need to provide the structure for your clients to be able to interact with the problems that they're facing. Where when you're working with an individual, he's able to bring in maybe a Rogerian or Carl Rogers insight in his supervision, say that you might want to be more client-centered and give unconditional positive regard. How can you help the client feel supported so that they're able to bring about their own change? I think being able to be knowledgeable in the various theories and methods of providing therapy and counseling to clients is helpful for a supervisor to be able to provide to their supervisee.